what did you come up with?
Hearing is being present in the room, and listening is focused.
That's good. Focus, yeah. He's right. Anybody else?
You can hear something without listening, but you can't listen to something without also hearing it. Listening is an active experience, a participatory thing, and not just like, oh, my ears work.
That's good. I like that. Yep, that's true.
Hearing, you can hear something, but listening means there's an intent. You have to focus. You have to be more intent in understanding what somebody's saying to you.
That's like the deaf. They're not physically hearing necessarily, but they're hearing and they're listening. They're focused. They use their eyes and stuff.
Right.
They're really like what she was saying, and it looked like she was using sign language when she was doing it. Because that's what I went to. I mean, if you can't actually hear.
They look at body language a lot.
That means a
I
lot.
mean, your eyes, your facial expressions, your body, and how it's
Your posture.
your posture.
Yeah, their sight becomes their hearing, even though they can't physically hear, though everything about you, what you say, do, your eyes, or all that, they pick up on the physical part as their part of
Their
hearing.
body language speaks big.
Yes.
Well, looked up the definition of hearing: the faculty or sense by which sound is perceived, the act of perceiving sound, or opportunity to be heard. And I'll give an example.
Opportunity.
If you heard, right now, to do something about it. So, and that's in our conversations with people too, when they don't sound normal, when you're having a discussion, then you start listening. You take it to a deeper level. And talking about listening and hearing, I got a story to share that I did that I actually tuned both of them out. I wasn't doing either one. Back in April, I went to CVS to get Brenda a couple of prescriptions. It was on a Saturday afternoon. And so I go in, and the one that he couldn't fill right away, he had to wait a month or two, whatever, because of timing. The other one, they said it'd be about 45 minutes. I said, okay. So this was the Saturday right before our last carry-in meal. And Irene had texted me, asked me to send out a group text as a reminder to everybody. So I mean, I turned my hearing off. I mean, my hearing was on this phone. My sight, everything, my focus was on those apps. And that was just, so I've learned that, when you go places, you got to pay attention. You have a very short span on here, and then, be present where you're at when it comes to listening. So another little tidbit I thought I'd throw in is the sound travels at 767 miles per hour. So just a little FYI. So, I already finished.
Do you go faster when you yell?
Maybe. No, I hadn't thought of that. I can do a search for that one, so.
You said 757?
767 miles per hour. Yeah. So, got some verses out of Habakkuk chapter 3. There's only 3 chapters. Habakkuk was a man who sought answers. He was troubled by what he observed, so he asked God some difficult questions. He saw a dying world, and it broke his heart. He boldly and confidently took his complaints directly to God, and God had answered. So he starts out in chapter 1, verse 2. It says, "How long, Lord, must I call for help, but you do not listen?" He's accusing God of not listening. I mean, God he knows all, sees all. He's listening too, but in his mind, that God's not listening. And then God answers him for the chapter, in the chapter there. But then he begins the next chapter with, "I will stand at my watch and station my ear silent." And that's what it's going to be like for all of us on the day of judgment with God. We're going to be in his temple, his courtroom. He's going to read that verdict, and we are going to be silent. So and if we go back to, let me go back through this. Kind of go back to the first one here. Well, this was all about Habakkuk. I mean, he was into himself 100%. That's him. And then here he's on the fence. He's ready to wait, willing to wait. And then now it's all about God. He's willing to take the time to be silent. So I did, out of curiosity, I did a search for the quietest place on earth. Anybody got a clue where that might be?
Bottom of the ocean.
No. I can tell you right now, it's not nothing natural, it's man-made. So that eliminates a lot.
What was the question you asked?
What's the quietest place on earth?
It's like an anti-acoustic room, it's like a -30 decibels.
Yep, you're close, yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Isolation chamber?
Yeah, I've got a picture of it here, and it's,
Yeah.
there it is.
Oh, there it is, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I've got a little thing here about it, it says, everybody seems to be looking for a little peace and quiet these days, but even such a reasonable idea can go too far. The quietest place on earth, an anechoic chamber at Orfield Laboratories in Minnesota. Inside the room it's silent, so silent the background noise measured is actually negative decibels, -9.4. Stephen Orfield, the lab's founder, said, "We challenge people to sit in the chamber in the dark." One person stayed in there for 45 minutes. When it's quiet, ears will adapt. The quieter the room, the more things you hear. You'll hear your heart beating. Sometimes you can hear your lungs. You'll hear your stomach gurgling loudly. In the anechoic chamber, you become the sound. But the room isn't just for torturing people. Companies test their products in it to find out just how loud they are. And NASA has sent astronauts to help them adapt to the silence of space. For you and me, however, the room is a deeply disorienting place. Not only do people hear their heartbeat, they have trouble orienting themselves and even stand for what you have to say. Along with silence, we're given signs to speak to us, but not in an audible voice. You can see by those. We say to ourselves, or in our conscience, we might even say out loud, "I got to slow down," or stop, and whatever the speed limit is. And kind of reminds me of a story a friend told me. They were on their way to Mansfield from Worcester on 30, and speed limit 60. Well, they were doing 75, got a ticket, $150 ticket for that. And so, I suggested that they put their foot on lead-free diet, to help save them some money. But, so it shows that, the signs were present, but they didn't listen to those signs. Even though they didn't speak, there were signs of warning saying, "Hey, this is what the rule is, this is what you need to do. And if you don't follow the signs and listen to them," in this case, listening to them as well, you're going to pay the price. So I've got here Luke chapter 6, verses 46 through 49, talks about how when a person builds their home and how it stands and doesn't stand, then the other one. And verse 46, "Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I say?" And in that case, the Lord's talking to us. We need to be listening, but yet we just treat him like an advisor. When someone talks to you, but you don't heed what they say, God has his best interests at heart for us. So that's why it's best to listen. "As for everyone who comes to me and hears my words and puts them into practice, I will show you what they are like." So there it's listening and following through. Again, he has our best interests at heart. He wants us to learn and grow, and we need to listen. "They are like a man building a house who dug down deep and laid the foundation on rock. When the flood, yet when we don't follow it, what happens? There's consequences. We pay. And unfortunately, we've all, at some point, through our relationships even with God or other people, we've been told, "I told you so," And we don't like hearing that because, if we'd done what they'd said, and God as well, and listened to them, then we wouldn't be saying, "Well, I told you so." Because then we end up making it worse for ourselves by not following what was prescribed for us. Because unfortunately, there are some people, their advice isn't the best. You need to obviously pray about it. It has to be, run through God. Let him be the mediator of any advice that you get. And he's got the biggest ears. Let him be the sounding board for everything that is going on. It's being told to you. I do have a video next. It's give you a little preview. It's Simon Sinek. I've come across this on Facebook. It's about listening. He's a motivational speaker, and and in marketing consulting, and it was really, really good. And it's about 3 minutes long, so we'll go ahead and play that here. Oh, no volume.
We're listening.